Hare Krishna. Today we are going to read from the book Wonderful Krishna, which is compiled by Hemangopi Mataji and Radhika Mataji and dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. The story's name is Shrutadev and Bahulashva. In the city of Mithila, in the kingdom of Videha, lived two great devotees of the Lord, Shrutadev and Bahulashva. Shrutadev was a poor Brahmin. He was constantly engaged in devotional service to the Lord. He was peaceful, learned, and lived a very simple life. By the will of the Lord, he obtained each day just enough to take care of himself and his family. He was very satisfied with whatever he got. The ruler of the kingdom was named Bahulashva. He had palaces. He was a pure devotee of the Lord and regularly worshipped the Lord in his deity form. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was pleased with both of them. He mounted his chariot and travelled to Videha with a group of sages. Among the sages were Narad, Vyas, Asita, Maitreya, and others. In every city and town which the Lord passed, the people came forward to worship him. They brought gifts and flowers to please him. The Lord glanced all around with affection and had a smiling, beautiful lotus-like face. Gradually, he reached Videha. In the cities and villages of Videha, hundreds of people lined up and greeted him joyfully. Both the king of Mithila, Bahulashva, and Shrutadev fell at the Lord's lotus feet. At exactly the same time, both came forward with folded hands and invited the Lord to be his guest along with the Brahmana sages. Wanting to please both of them, the Lord accepted both their invitations. Thus, he simultaneously went to both the houses and neither could see him entering the other's house. In this way, the Lord and his companions were present in both the houses, although both the Brahmana and the king thought he was present in his house only. This opulence of the Lord is described as Vaibhav Prakash. When Lord Krishna and the sages arrived at King Bahulashwa's palace, seats of honor were laid out for them. When they were all seated, the king bowed down and washed their feet with love and devotion. He sprinkled the washed water on his own head and also those of his family members. Then he worshipped the Lord and the sages with fragrant sandalwood, paste, flower garlands, fine clothes, ornaments, incense, lamps. He also gave ornamented cows and bulls in charity. He had arranged a grand feast for his guests. After everyone had eaten to their satisfaction, he held the Lord's lotus feet in his lap and happily massaged them with tears in his eyes. He offered beautiful prayers to the Lord. Afterwards, he begged the Lord and the sages to stay in Mithila for some days to bestow good fortune on the people. Meanwhile, Shrutadev received the Lord in his little hut with great enthusiasm. He danced with great joy, waving his shawl. He laid out mats of grass and straw. He was so poor that he had to borrow mats from his neighborhood. Shrutadev washed the lotus feet and sprinkled himself and his family with the washed water. He offered fruits, water, fragrant clay, tulsi leaves, kusha grass and lotus flowers. He offered them simple prasad. Afterwards, Shrutadev massaged the Lord's feet and offered sincere prayers. He said, "O Lord, you are the Supreme Soul and we are your servants. How can I serve you?" The Lord heard Shrutadev's prayers and then he glorified the sages who had come with him. He said, "My dear Brahmana, you should know that these great sages have come here just to bless you. One can gradually become purified by seeing, touching and worshipping temple deities, places of pilgrimage and holy rivers. But one can immediately achieve the same result simply by receiving the merciful glance of these exalted devotees. In this way, both the devotees served the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the best way they could. The Lord stayed for some time with his two great devotees, Shrutadev and Bahulashva. He was equally pleased with both of them, and they attained the ultimate destination of their lives. Thank you.